We hear often, oh, this person has good taste, or, ooh, that was bad taste, that was distasteful. And I find that interesting because from this perspective, your taste, again, is a very unique and subjective concept. Dude, this was a while ago, but did you ever see this clip?
He does, and how is difficult to describe.
Do you play instruments?
Barely.
Do you know how to work a soundboard?
No. I have no technical ability, and I know nothing about music.
You must know something.
Well, I know what I like and what I don't like, and I'm decisive about what I like and what I don't like.
So what are you being paid for?
The confidence that I have in my taste and my ability to express what I feel has proven helpful for artists.
No, I have not seen this.
So this went viral. First of all, big Rick Rubin fan, but I caught it as a meme of something like how that top sales producer got anything done when you ask him. It was like, it flashed to that. It's like, has proved helpful.
My taste and confidence is proved helpful.
But this wasn't the real genesis of the idea for the podcast. It's really what's going on in the world right now and trying to put together a tasty episode on something that's going around on the concept of what AI cannot take away. It's not the only thing, but thought it would be an awesome topic and kick us off with that clip because as I was doing my research and really kind of reflecting on it, that one came to mind.
That's a funny video. So that's Rick Rubin?
Is Rick Rubin. So Rick Rubin's a producer behind Jay-Z, Eminem, the Beastie Boys, Johnny Cash's resurgence. Like, he's one of the biggest artists known. He's the method behind the madness.
Was he the one that came up with the acapella 99 Problems for Jay-Z, yep, where he was like, hey, I don't think we have anything, no music, you just come in acapella, like, you know, I got 99 problems in it. Yeah, so that's that guy. Okay. That's funny. He has no musical ability. He's saying, he's like, I don't know how to do this.
He's being extremely humble, but he's saying he didn't actually make the art. He's like a curator, right?
Yeah.
And his stuff, his book is first of all awesome. I found him because he is a avid fan of meditation and his lifestyle and the creative act. Meditation saved him from a really dark spot after he had made it, and his approach to life and how he's been able to communicate how meditation's helped him is what sent me down a rabbit hole. He wrote a book called The Creative Act, which is awesome. I bought a few copies for friends, but he started at NYU music in the music program, and one of my friends was actually in the dorms with him, so I bought him the book, and he's like, yeah, I still can't believe I was in the dorms with that guy.
That's funny.
Anyway, the topic for today is taste. And when we talk about taste, a lot of people go directly to, what's their preference or what is, their opinion on something. Maybe people go straight to material things, art, houses, food, obviously taste from a sense perspective, wine, these things. But really, taste to me is more than just preference. And after really reflecting on this, it's how we are filtering reality. Like Steven's taste on what you think is a good product from a payroll perspective, from a performance perspective, is totally different from the rest of the world. And as we talk more about our perceptions of reality, our perceptions of success, it's your taste that's going to set you aside as creation's becoming a commodity.
Yeah, this is an interesting topic because when you first brought it up, I was thinking like, surface level, like your preference, like, oh yeah, I've got good taste. I've got, I dress nice or, nice to me, or I dress this way because this is my taste versus someone else who might wear a suit and tie every day and that's their taste or whatever. But I think you're on a deeper level, and correct me if I'm wrong. You're thinking like, what is the specific flavor you're giving others and what is the specific taste you're receiving from others that moves you towards away from the general or automated like perception, if you will. But you're trying to take this a little deeper. So expand on that a little bit to help. I'm sure anyone listening to this right now is trying to wrap their head around exactly how deep you're trying to take it.
Yeah, and I think some people would argue against the fact that AI can't generate its own taste, which is for a different conversation. We're
Or
not
does
getting
it
into
have
that.
its own taste, right? Like it's its own personality. Sometimes like you go back and forth with ChatGPT and it's got a personality, and we always joke ChatGPT is being like your positive best friend and Claude is the one that tells you like it is. And so,
Yeah,
that's their taste, right?
but in simplicity, technically it can't have taste as it's a predictive language model that's
Good
taking
point.
the next it's a combination of tastes and doing an average of tastes. And that's the whole point.
Good point.
Is like we want to be drawing it's drawing from us, it's drawing from everyone and getting to the mean. So I think the goal is, and this is back to our authenticity and wearing masks episode, what are we trying to put out in the world and what's our taste? And I think I went to a materialist example and it was like, okay, some people say their theory of taste is Lexus versus BMW. This was my example. And you just think, oh, I like Lexus. I like Japanese machinery and their process. This is kind of my deal. I love Toyota and Lexus. And then you have people that are just completely obsessed with German and how BMWs are manufactured. And so taste isn't saying, oh, I like Lexus, you like BMW. It's really what is the feeling coming through you that automobile gives you. So like in a advertisement, an advertiser is looking to show a Lexus four-wheel drive up against a mountainside while the sun's dropping below a ridge, classic slow beat rock in the background, breathing through the speakers and understanding that whole moment to put you into that machine. They're trying to match to that person's taste. And that's what I think it is. I think it's an emotion in a specific setting. And we have multiple different areas of this, right, that are compartmentalized to our lives that kind of make up our taste in life itself.
Yeah, I think you're right. Advertisers, they are trying to attract a certain demographic, specifically for like, if you're a luxury vehicle or maybe a Rolex, like a luxury watch or something, right? You're typically going to find a certain demographic, and if you didn't adhere to their taste, you probably wouldn't have a lot of sales. Like if you had some, dude in a like basketball shorts and a cutoff wearing a Rolex, it probably wouldn't work as well as some dude in a very nicely dressed in a suit and tie and looking sharp, whatever that lifestyle they're trying to portray or whatever. Like that's going to hit home because that person that you're trying to check has that taste for that luxury watch. But those are materialistic things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you say taste, not going materialistic, but like in terms of how you navigate life, like the decisions you make? I guess what I'm trying to say is like the trips you go on, the people you're around, they're not things, but they're activities or whatever. That's all tied to taste as well. Would you agree?
Yeah. So what I'm hearing you ask is like, where does taste come from?
Yeah.
And
is it developed? Are you born with it? Is it curated?
Or is it like, and this is what gets us into conditioning. I think this is the nature versus nurture conversation of, is it all of your parents, society, your relatives, your friends, the media you consume? Does that build your taste? Or is there something deeper, again, on how you see the world internally that I think you can't argue the nature and nurture either, your genetic code mapped up with your life experiences that really create an almost DNA-like combination to where your taste is uniquely your own. You really are a snowflake in regard to that, because there's no way another person sees the world with exactly the experiences you've had and exactly the people that have influenced you.
But I will say that when you come across somebody who thinks along the same lines, like you've had that, right? Where you've like just totally vibe with someone, where you've had a conversation and they're like literally finishing each other's sentences and they're strangers. And you're like, whoa, like it clicks. Like you're like, oh, this guy or gal's cool or whatever. Like it's how you develop relationships too. When
cut from the same cloth.
Yeah. Cut from the same cloth. Exactly. But where does that come from? Does that mean that they had the same upbringing as you? Does that mean that they're in the same industry as you? Not always. And so it's like, how does that get developed? Is it a personality trait? Is it something that like, do you need knowledge? Do you need expertise? Do you need like not being so structured? Do you need like, there's all sorts of, do you need characteristics that are specific? Like, can you only be around, like, can you be open to other areas if you have good taste? Maybe that's a taste in and of itself, is being open-minded. I don't know. I think that this can go pretty wide.
That was one of the questions that I had when I examined this, because we hear often, oh, this person has good taste, or, oh, that was bad taste, that was distasteful. And I find that interesting because, from this perspective, your taste, again, is a very unique and subjective concept. So, what I would argue is, and I think this is what Rubin kind of argues, is that it's a straightforward idea and it's not intangible, but you can cultivate taste. And how we cultivate taste, mapping to another guy, Robert Greene, is really intense immersion and hard work as a craftsman in these areas of life that you even care to have taste about. Maybe it's not the material, maybe it's art, maybe it's business. And there are some good examples I'd like to walk through from a business example, but this goes across all different layers in your taste, whatever it is, your taste in the opposite sex or the same sex, if that's your thing. Whatever that is, we talk about taste there, where your taste in men, your taste in women. It's this kind of reflection of who you are and how you express yourself through the world.
And is it the things that you genuinely like or want to like? So like, I think when you're born, you kind of you're just kind of naturally, as part of, your upbringing or whatever, you're naturally drawn towards specific things. I think if you want change, you can force yourself to have better taste. If you're like, I'm not digging this lifestyle that I'm doing, or I'm not digging the people that I'm around, and I want to change it. So as you mentioned, immersion, you immerse yourself into these other situations to start developing that taste towards attraction in other areas of your life. And so I think that there's a balance. Like, you've got to know you can't have good taste without knowing what that taste is. Like, you have to know what it is that you want in order to, but then does it really matter? Like, if you enjoy it, does it matter? Because no one else really cares, because it's uniquely to you.
And that's back to that authenticity piece, right? And instead of approaching, that was the kind of goal of this episode, where I've been looking, is like, how are you showing up in the world? And maybe it's not about performance or excellence or achievement, but really it's a way of being in the world. And I think this is what drives back to meditation, and something that I do think is a strength that I've cultivated, is the art of noticing. And trained attention, or even if it's not trained, letting your mind wander and hear everything that's going around you, the layers of sound, your senses, what you're seeing. That's the reticular activating system. You're going to be drawn to, if you're in real estate, you're going to be drawn to buildings. If you're into vehicles and remodeling them, your eyes are going to be all over the road looking for the models of vehicles, looking for inspiration there. So are you noticing the things in life that you want to notice? Or is your taste just being bombarded with outside influences that are conditioning and kind of pulling you away? And that's kind of where I was thinking and reflecting on.
Yeah. And you mentioned a level of care. Like, you've got to care about it, right? Like, if you don't care about real estate, that reticular activating system is not going to have, like, it's only the things that you care about in that moment with the knowledge that you have. But I think taste is more of a long, like, that's more of a personality trait, where, like, you're always going to have this level of taste towards something. But I think that things that in the moment, I think that reticular activating system picks up for the things that you care about the most in the moment during that period, a smaller window of time, in my opinion, unless it is your career vocation and this is everything that you've put everything into. Like, when I'm out there driving around, I'm noticing small businesses a lot more than I'm noticing corporations, like, McDonald's or whatever. I'm noticing the local coffee shop more than a Starbucks, because I'm in that business of local small business. Right. And so I think if you have this, and you look at what it is that you're after, the things that you care about, you're going to see those things a lot more. But you mentioning what are the things that you really, truly care about, that's what's going to drive the taste that you currently have.
I think it could get dangerous when people say, because we've heard this before, I think one of the most often is, I'm not creative. Or saying, like, the danger of saying you have it or you don't. It's not like that. It's not binary. If you think you don't have taste, you're probably mapping to, there's probably a good sign that you look at the world differently than all of the big brands or people that are, influencing the rest of the world. So this development of taste or this development of creativity or making an impact or how you want to show up, I think it's a lack of noticing and you're working against yourself if you're not really pulling on the tethers of what lights you up in the world or who you want to be and how you want to show up.
Well, yeah, and who tells you what is good taste or not, right? Like,
Exactly.
you know, and that's where I think people get in trouble too, is they think they have to or want to be this thing, and then they get to that thing or become that person. You're like, damn, this is not really what I thought. You hear about the Met Gala that just happened? There's like A-list celebrities, whatever, that kind of boycotted the Met Gala
No.
in Hollywood. Like they don't go.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some big celebrities that go, and it's kind of like that is a very tasteful event, right? Like everyone who's who of Hollywood or whatever is going. Everyone gets dressed up, and it's all like a fancy dinner, and you know it's a big deal. It's an annual thing. But there's people that are like, this doesn't vibe with my taste. Like I don't like the surface conversations. I don't like the one up of each other all the time, or getting all dolled up in clothes that I don't even enjoy wearing, but I'm doing it because I think this is what I'm supposed to do, you know, because this is good taste for the industry I'm in. Like I think there's something to say about that, where if you feel like you're supposed to, but it's not really truly who you are, like that doesn't mean that has to be your taste. Maybe there's something to say, like, you know, you kind of got to just bite the bullet and do some of these things sometimes just because that's the industry you're in. But I don't think you necessarily have to go along with the crowd just because the crowd thinks it's good taste. You know, like you could pivot from that and still be successful. You know, you can dress the way you want, or you could do things you want. People may think you're odd, or maybe you don't show up and whatever, but I think it still brings awareness. People are still going to recognize, and it's, you know, if you're doing the same thing and following the crowd, they're not going to notice you. But if you do something different in the same industry, then they're going to notice you. Like some of the most successful people are the ones that do the exact opposite of what everyone else is doing.
Absolutely. I I didn't have this in my notes at all. That's what I love about these conversations. But how about music? How I think about the golf course or at a party and you're at an event, and those that are willing to kind of put their music on and put it out there, because it's kind of a thing like, are you into this? Do you like country? Oh, you're not into rap? Oh, heavy metal's a no-go. And on the golf course, this happens if you're in a group that hopefully is down for some tunes in the background. It just happened, but he was listening to shout out Brad Steele, awesome realtor if you're looking for one. We're on it. His thing is he puts Colin Coward on, and it often drives me AWOL. Not a fan. So it'll be like, hey, do you mind if I throw on some tunes now? And I throw on some tunes, and some of my playlists, especially on the golf course, my ADHD comes out. It goes Phil Collins to old school country, rebel country, over to a Disney song, maybe a musical thrown in there, Connor Price, Jay-Z.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, this playlist is all over the place. And I was like, oh, but, you know, a little bit of hesitant. Oh, he doesn't like it. He's like, this is awesome. It was like, yes, that's kind of your personality. When we start talking about music like that, that is kind of a glimpse that you get into people's, what they truly like is through the music that they listen to. People's taste in music, I think, is one that comes up a lot.
That's the universal language,
right?
It transcends. Like everyone.
I thought that was mathematics. There's no taste in mathematics.
No, maybe not. The math ain't mathing. But yeah, I think you're right. Taste in music is definitely what you can get a lot from. Actually, just had a meeting with a partner today. Had no clue, and he's like super big into EDM. And I'm like, he goes to EDM concerts and all this stuff. Like he loves it. And I just never would have pegged him for that. But it kind of was like, oh, you know, you just never really know who someone is. I think you get to know people really well based on the music they like. I think it's a really good identifier of who you're around. And like, and go in your example where you're bouncing around all the time. No one makes playlists like that. Like that is your unique taste there, dude. Like you have, like you said, Disney and this song, whatever. Like everyone makes a playlist and it's usually the same genre. It doesn't really bounce around like that. So your mixtape game is your own taste.
Some humans like consistency and like to be on a genre for a while, but it's so boring.
Yeah, you gotta switch it up. Yeah, I agree with you. That definitely gives you some insight into somebody's taste based on their music, and it also gives insight into what they're thinking right now and what they're going through right now. Like, you know, going down the music rabbit hole. Like if you're listening to something that's a little bit more underground or a little moody, if you will, maybe you're going through something. You know, music gets you in and up and down and out of the moods or wherever you need to be, or just relates with what it is that's going on right now. So I think having a wide range of taste in music is a really good thing.
I couldn't agree more. And tying this back with all of the noise around specifically artificial intelligence, but even that aside, generating your own opinions and really curating what's going in and being intentional, having like some discipline and work ethic of putting something out, even if it's just for you in a notebook, on a screen recording, focusing on your taste, because as of now, AI is going to replace it. And even if it could, eventually we're going to get tired of it. We're going to get tired of the averages and all the areas that we have. And it's going to be up to us as individuals to keep creating if we have more of a freedom to do so. And these tools make it easier for us to give us inspiration to tie and get to opening new threads to pull on. I think that's kind of some of the positive note I wanted to drive here, because whatever your opinion is on artificial intelligence, it's here for now and doesn't feel like it's going anywhere, but it can't replace your makeup and your truly unique one of one, while at the same time just being an ape spinning on a rock in infinite space. So,
well, that's exactly what you took the words out of my mouth of what is your uniqueness. And I think that's really what drives this episode home is AI does generalize a lot of things, and a lot of people are using it to the same level of depth. I think there's people using it to extremely deep, making a lot of progress with it, but most of us are very surface level with AI. And so they're just using the same information and spitting that out, and just kind of becomes slop. And so how can you take the information that's being provided to you and make it uniquely you, and sharing that information the way you would share it, as opposed to a copy and paste type of situation. And I think that's where people are getting lazy. And I believe that your taste needs to shine through now more than ever in order to stand out from the crowd to get to where it is you want to go. And otherwise you're just going to be following along and riding with the group. And I don't know if, whatever your definition for success is, I believe that if you want to take it to another level, you've got to stand out from the crowd, and you've got to show those unique colors that you have, and you got to start talking about it, and you got to start bringing it out into the world. And so unique is a great word for this episode. That could be the key word we use.
I think that was a tasty episode, and we'll leave it there. I need a palate cleanser after this one.
That's the pod.